Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We're going to be taking a look at the latest news on the 2020 free agency class, as we've seen a lot of the big names get off the board, but you may be surprised by some of the names that are still available. We'll be taking a look at that in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below, and let's take a look at what's left of the free agency draft class. All right, so before we get too far into this, just want to give a quick plug to our Instagram and Twitter handles at goalline_hockey. Make sure to check those out. We've been starting to grind out the content specifically on the Instagram. Make sure to check that out. All right, so with that out of the way, let's take a look at the top free agents still available in this year's draft class as of October 19th, 2020. Now, I know the second I upload this video, we're going to see all these guys get taken off the board, right? Because that's how this works. But we're going to start things off looking at the guys that were paid the most last offseason in terms of cap hit. So we're going to start it off looking at the former New Jersey Devil, Conor Sheary. Conor Sheary really struggled in his time with the New Jersey Devils. This may be the end of the road for Conor Sheary at this point. He's 34 years old. He played in 13 games last season. He won 3 of them. He lost 6. You do the math, that's not 13 games. He was just a little glimpse. He was pulled in a couple of those games. He had an .887 save percentage, a .353 goals against average. Yeah, he struggled last season for the Devils, so I do not see him getting brought in, as a real competent goaltender. There were rumors that the Islanders were actually in on Conor Sheary. I just don't think the Islanders are willing to do that. I mean, there was talk that it would happen, but I just think he's done. So that's a shame for Conor Sheary, but that's how this works. On the other side, we've got the next biggest name. We've got Mikhail Grigorenko. Mikhail Grigorenko, 28 years old. He's a left shot player. He had 30 points last season in 63 games. He's a pretty competent player. He's a guy that made $5.75 million last season. This is a guy that I would not be surprised if he makes, $6.5 million on this next contract. I think there's plenty of teams that are interested in Mikhail Grigorenko, specifically a team like Philadelphia or the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think they would be a really nice fit for Grigorenko. They have the cap space, and he would fit quite well into their group. Now, looking at another big name, as we just made a video talking about him in particular, so I'm not going to speak about it too much, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the 30-year-old left shot player, Mike Hoffman. He had 59 points last season with the Florida Panthers. He spent time with the Ottawa Senators. We won't talk about his time in San Jose, Ottawa Senators fans, but then he moved on to Florida, so yeah, you have him out there as well. Andy Green, another name that we've been hearing, he seems to be tied to coming back to the New York Islanders. And I don't know if that's for certain, but it seems like the Islanders are looking at bringing him back, maybe as just a depth player, a depth defenseman. He's 37 years old. He's a left shot defenseman, but he can play both sides. And he had 14 points in 63 games with the Isles last year. He's putting up almost 20 minutes per night. So for an old guy, man, pat on the back. Give him a lot of credit because he's a very solid defenseman still considering his old age. Don't tell him I said that, though. All right, and then we're looking at Alex Galchenyuk, who a former top draft pick, 26 years old. He just has not developed into that player that they were hoping he would become. And Alex Galchenyuk, like I said, he's 26 years old. He's left shot, but he could play center, left wing, right wing. He's a good Swiss Army knife, and I think a team could really have a nice underrated signing in bringing in Galchenyuk. He had 24 points last season in 59 games. He's putting up, he's playing almost 12. He's a little over 12 minutes a night. His contract was at 4.9 last year, so expect probably less than that. I would expect between 3.5 to 4.5 on his next contract. He has to have a prove me year contract. He has to prove to a team that he's worthy, that he could play in the top 6. I think at this point, teams don't really see him as that type of player. He's going to be playing probably a middle 6 player, maybe on that 3rd line, maybe even that 4th line. Dare I even say that? So Alex Galchenyuk, his value has definitely shot in the wrong direction, downward. All right, so now we're looking at Sammy Vatrano, another defenseman that was pretty highly sought after at the NHL trade deadline, but injuries have really hurt Sammy Vatrano. He's 29 years old. He's a right shot defenseman, but he can play both sides. He had 23 points last season with the Devils. He was traded to the Hurricanes at the deadline, but like I said, injuries, he really didn't play all that much for the Hurricanes. I think that really hurt him. He's getting over 21 minutes of ice time per night. So he's a reliable defenseman in that regard. Might have been some of the reason that he got injured because of all that wear and tear. Expect him to make around $3.5 to $4 million on his next contract. But with the rate we're at, I don't even know if he's going to get signed at all. So we'll see what happens with Vatanen. And then another big name that I was looking at, I think this would be an interesting signing for somebody. Justin Abdelkader. Justin Abdelkader is 33 years old. He's a left shot player, but can play right shot as well. And I think this is a guy that, you know what, he's not, he put up 3 points in 49 games last year. Let's be honest. He's not worth the 4.25 he was making. But he has the potential to, even on a short little deal, like we saw with Corey Perry last year, I think that's the kind of guy you're looking at. I think Abdelkader could be a nice side addition to an organization. And then I got to mention, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, this guy, because Conor Sheary, I mean, look how he has fallen off the map. He's 28 years old. He's a left shot player, had 23 points in 63 games with Buffalo. Buffalo just exiles him. He was making $3 million per season. He didn't become that player that I think Buffalo was hoping he would when he was playing with Sidney Crosby, because we know the Sidney Crosby effect. Every player gets better when they play with Crosby. And unfortunately for Sheary, once he was off that, he definitely just was not the same player. So, Conor Sheary, I would hope that he finds an opportunity somewhere. I was thinking maybe Detroit would be a nice destination. You would think Buffalo would have been, but obviously that didn't work out. I would be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if LA or San Jose maybe took a waiver on a guy like Conor Sheary just to see how he would fit in their organization. Even the Arizona Coyotes, they just lost Taylor Hall. Maybe they look at Conor Sheary on a short-term deal just to see how he would fit in their top six. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think are some underrated players that have not been signed yet in free agency? And where would you like to see them go? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.